Hello, hello, hello. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So I'm only going to do about an hour because it's Christmas Eve. And things are kind of settling in here and we're going to be... I mean, my family was here, is gone, so I've got an hour to kind of fiddle-faddle. I've been fiddle-faddling all day on this code because I've just been trying to get different things done. However, I've currently got an issue where my formatting of my data going back to the database is not working. So I'm gonna have to build my save just so I can see what it's doing and make sure that I can fix the problem. Currently I've got so this is a working curl example here, and this is the one my app is trying to run. So I'm trying to insert it, create it as a curl statement. Actually, it's supposed to be. It's not fully working right now because it's going to be wrong here. So I'm either going to have to pass it in or I have to get this to edit correctly. So there is some inconsistencies on how I'm saving, and I just realized that. So one of the problems I've been running into, and I'm not sure how to handle this. It's not a problem. It's a functionality issue. The problem is I'm trying to decide how to do the distances. Now, this is another thing. I'm so torn on how I want to do stuff here. It's like I'm trying. Okay, so let's see if I can explain my situation here. If you have a distance, right, and you're like 4th and 2, what's the condition that the app is looking for? That's what I got to decide. Are we deciding that it's got to be less than 4th and 2? Are we deciding it has to be exactly 4th and 2? Are we deciding that it has to be greater than 4th and 2? In other words, 4th and 2 plus, or is it less than 2? And if not, and if I have to define, or what is the best way to define, if in fact we're going to let that be flexible, in other words, less than 2, which means what happens if they want to do a 4th and 1? Maybe they want to run something. That's very specific, but I'm just saying. And then do I grab all the values greater, and then you take the max value? Because you can't go both ways, right? Because like if you say 4th and, let's say you're dealing with a 3rd and long, or a 3rd and 10, okay, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, whatever. Now what in that situation? Are you talking about 3rd and 9 and farther, or 3rd and 9 and shorter? In that case, you're probably thinking 3rd and 9 and longer. But what if it's 3rd and 20? 3rd and 9, you might throw a medium pass. You might even consider a run. You might do a couple different things. At 3rd and 20, are you just going to do a draw or a bomb? I mean, are you going for it or are you not? I mean, so what is the condition though? Is it less than 20 or more than 20? What if you get sacked and you're like at 3rd and 25? So it's like, now the system will if there's not a condition that meets the criteria, then the game plan will just run what the game plan runs. It's got a default. There's default settings. But if you want to control it to where you totally have complete and total control, like your coach will have tendencies. So like if you're running a 3rd and 20, what is the coach going to do? I mean, I don't want to have it be where somebody has to have every yard accounted for, or every yard Every yard in the game plan. Because really, I only want to give them about 10, 20 choices per offense, defense. I have special teams in there, and I'm starting to second guess the whole special teams thing. One reason I have special teams there is because downs don't matter in special teams, right? You're not going to have a fourth down punt. Well, I mean, you could have a fourth down punt, a third down punt, or something weird. But see, I don't even have special teams game plan situations. They're all the same. So it's like, what do you say? I mean, a kickoff is a kickoff is a kickoff, right? I mean, there's no, you're not, it's not a down. It's not a fourth down or anything. So I haven't decided how special teams is even going to work. But I got to give people the option of doing things like, well, if we're behind, I want to do an onside kick. Maybe not every time, but maybe there's a high percentage chance and you want to say, I want to do an onside kick. Or maybe you want to say, never do an onside kick. I don't know. Maybe there's a special teams conditions, like special values for special teams. I don't know. Because there's only so many options. I mean, you kick off, but you could try to kick short. You could try to kick long. You might, you're doing something intentional. If you're not doing it intentionally, you just leave it alone and it'll just do a regular kickoff. But it's like if you have a situation where you want to do certain things in your game plan, that's what I want to give. I want to give them the ability, give the user the ability to adjust the game plan to their desire. So the question is, how do I I'm thinking my game plan logic is missing something still. That's what I'm thinking. I may have to have a greater than, less than. That may be my only option. And if you have two greater thans on the same situation, like if it's third down, and you have two greater thans, greater than 5, greater than 10, it's going to take the greatest greater than that's less than your current field position. And it's going to run off that. But I think I have to have a greater than and less than option. But that also means I need to have one for both down and, because you may just want to do like one thing, right? If we're less than 5 yards, do this kind of thing. If we're more than 5 yards, do that kind of thing. So you have a little control, but you don't want to have, you could also just leave it. If you say, if there's no condition that meets the criteria of the play, then it'll just run its standard random plays from your playbook, or from the playbook, whatever playbook it is that you're working with. So if you've customized your playbook, because a standard playbook doesn't have very much in it, but in time you'll get more and more plays, and you can keep adding and enhancing and altering your playbook. What game was I playing that I finally uninstalled it, but it actually let you get plays, and you could put plays in your playbook, but it was very I mean, you didn't know what was getting called. You just had them in your playbook, and it just called what it called. So there was always, I mean, you didn't have any input really as to what it's going to play. It was very basic stuff. And it attempted to give you some kind of feedback, stats and stuff, but not enough to know who was doing what. I mean, there's no player information. I don't remember any player information in the game. Player feedback. So yeah, I'm struggling with the how to implement that. But really, the game plan and the simulator are the two guts of the game. They're the things that are going to make this interesting. And so I need to make sure that whatever I do that whatever I do, it's that those two things are good, right? I mean, that's the game. So I have to make those the best. And those are the first things I'm going to be working on, is getting the game going, getting a simulation working. Then, of course, it's the next most important thing after how well it functions, how well it does its job, will be how good it looks. And everything else is just extras. It's sugar on top. So I've got to get these things functioning well. And then as I start doing the Android app and start getting all the pretties in place and all of the other bonuses and tweaks that just add to the experience, that's where, you know, I need to get going later. But it's not; those aren't the most important things. So I gotta make sure I cover the most important things. And I've been watching and playing other football games that are out there, and my thought is that, you know, I mean, I have to, right? I need to know what's out there, because for one, I don't want to replicate what other people are doing outright. You need to know what they're doing, and I play some games. There's one or two that I play that I actually kind of enjoy-ish, but I'm also seeing where they're breaking down for me. As I play them more, I'm like, why is this losing me? Why am I less interested now than I was 3 days ago or a week ago? And because you want to have it be something like, it's not the sport for anything. I mean, like, there are things I genuinely like about some of these games, but they just don't have something to keep me interested, because they're not letting me do what I want to do. And it's like the game control. It's kind of fun, but it's very simplistic. And, you know, like with the players, you can cut. I'm thinking of Retro Bowl. Retro Bowl is kind of cool, but it's like there's a lot of features that I'm like, I don't know if I like the way they're going. And you know, they keep upping the contracts of players, and since you're controlling, you don't have to. You can sim, and I don't know. Maybe it's different if I sim. Maybe I should sim more. But the defenses are terrible in this game. They're bad against you. They're bad for you. I mean, your defense is terrible against the Sims, and they just score all the time. And the higher it goes, the more they score. I mean, I basically have to score almost every single drive because my defense is just terrible. And it's all simulated on defense. So you just watch. Drive down, he drives down, he scores a touchdown.